All right. I think we are live and hopefully you can hear me. I've been trying to stay a little bit quiet um, for as long as I can, but we're ready to get this rocking and rolling. And so, welcome back to the Sober Witch Life, Sunshine's Guide to a Mystical Recovery. And we're on episode 20. It's crazy because my goal is to be able to do these every week, but I also give myself a lot of grace if something comes up and I'm not ready. And so the last couple of weeks I haven't. And yeah, life's just been busy, right? This time of the year, I'm recording this. We're just past the halfway of October, and this is the season of the witch. And so I've been incredibly busy. And that busyness has not always been very welcomed, and it can feel overwhelming. So yeah, I gave myself some grace and I'm back. And we're picking up again on the steps. That's what we've been doing the last number of weeks. And today we are on step 10. And we're talking all about that regular shadow work today. Um, of course, we're going to start with a little bit of story time. Recovery has not always been pretty. It's just not. And, I think I belong to a lot of Facebook groups that talk about recovery and sobriety and things of that nature. And the reality is you'll often see if you talk to folks in recovery, you'll see some folks struggling, right? Because we don't always step into this journey and end up in this place of constant, love and happiness and joy and all of that. I mean, that's not realistic. That's not what life is about, you know? Yes, there is a lot of that, right? Because I've done a lot of this work and I've been willing, to face a lot of these shadows. So I experience a lot of peace, a lot of love, a lot of happiness and a lot of joy in my life every day. But the fact is, and the truth is, I spent 32 years of my life drinking. The first time I ever drank, I was 8 years old. And no, my habit wasn't what it was back then, what it was when I hit rock bottom, but I still was drinking subconsciously because it was numbing things. So 32 years of drinking where I was numbing and in essence, hiding from shadows, like intentionally hiding or having them hidden from me, right? Because I wasn't in a place that they were able to show or express themselves. And, I want to be honest. It's been over 5 years now, and there's been some really tough times. Like, there's been some really hard shadows that I've had to face. They've revealed themselves to me, thankfully, not all at once, and I think the goddess for that one. I can't imagine like if everything would have showed up, all of what I'm about to kind of share with you. And I'm not going to go into detail, but I'm going to just touch on like these are really difficult things. These are shadows that were, yeah, right? Like, I can understand in some way, shape, or form like why I was drinking to numb these things. And the very first shadow was my codependency, right? That was the very first one that came up. And that came up within weeks of me stepping into recovery. And then me making the realization that part of my codependency really loved a partner in crime. I loved having somebody that would engage in my drug of choice, right? My drug of choice was alcohol. And so I made a commitment probably about 2 weeks in that I would not be partnered with somebody that consumed alcohol. It just was not, it was too risky. That's the truth. It just was too risky. Uh, I also realized that I was a people pleaser. I didn't always stick up for myself and choose what was in my best interest because I didn't want to hurt other people's feelings. Right. And I think a lot of us fall into this pattern, right? A lot of us fall into this pattern. And, looking back, I could see and understand a lot of it. Why? Is because I grew up in an alcoholic household. There was a lot of drama and trauma that was being inflicted on a regular basis. And so all of us, each of us in that household walked on eggshells. I had a fear of being seen and visible in this world as a psychic. I had a fear of being visible and seen in this world as a witch, even though these two things are so, so core to who I am, my own identity, and yet I was hiding it, like and I don't know that it was out of embarrassment or anything, but I didn't want to be misunderstood. That's the words that are coming to mind. And like I had a real concern of not being misunderstood. Like, you know, and that was a really big shadow, and looking back, even right now, some of what I'm hearing and my guides are telling me, it's because I was, I would express and talk and share about things as a child and was dismissed and was not understood. And so I didn't want to feel that again. I also had some pretty intense repressed memories start to come forward. I've had memories of being fed alcohol as a child, right? Intentionally fed alcohol as a child. I've had repressed memories of, seeing my father aggressively request that I lie for him. I've even had repressed memories of sexual abuse as a child come up. And those are hard. Those are really fucking hard things. And every single one of them could have given me reason to relapse, right? Like the drinking demon could have totally justified a relapse. Um, I also really started to have to face how long I had had disordered eating, right? And be very conscious of it, and it's still something that I work towards. I've had repressed memories around medical trauma that happened as a child. Literally being forced to go to the doctor to try to find treatment, and they couldn't find it, and having to go through test after test. When if, we were to like be real truthful and honest, all of the reason I was there was even tied back to that sexual abuse. I've watched friends relapse and felt helpless. I watched a partner relapse and eventually die. I've had a lot of really hard shadows to face and things that, if I had not been committed to my recovery, could have easily walked me off of that path. So why am I sharing all of this with you? Is because step 10 is continuing to do the shadow work and healing yourself so that you can be of service in this world. I believe us witches are meant to be here to help other folks. Maybe not all of us have to wear it on our sleeves, like I'm choosing to do, but that is what we're here for. And it's hard. This challenging work is part of our purpose. Doing this shadow work is part of our purpose. Going through it and getting onto the other side is part of what our journey entails. It is to show our children that this can be done. It is to show our families that this can be done. It is to heal our ancestral bloodlines. It is to pave a way for others to continue to do the work, to see that it is possible to recover. And step 10 is so important. And I think it's avoiding the shadow work that is the number one reason for a relapse. Not being willing to face all of those things and look at them and integrate them into like part of who you are, not allowing them to own you anymore, but just to be a part of you. Instead of sitting in the suffering of desire for a drink and using, right? Really exploring the why, being willing to feel that discomfort, going deep with it, not allowing it to give you an excuse, because that addiction demon loves a fucking excuse. It will look for every possible reason to get you to slide right back. You need to be willing to face all the uncomfortable, shitty things about life without picking up a drink or using. You need to see what you can learn about yourself. You owe it to yourself. You fucking owe it to yourself. If you have made it all the way till step 10, you absolutely 100% owe yourself the chance to continue. Don't get me wrong, these shadows, these repressed memories, these downloads, they're not pleasant. When you get something that Yeah, it's not pleasant. Somatically speaking, it can be very disturbing. You can feel it usually throughout your entire body. I can feel a full ripple. I had a download this past week that was so intense, I had to ask my partner to drive because it happened right as I'd gotten into the car. But they are so few in comparison to the joy and the happiness and the peace that I feel now. Right? And I always look at it like that. I say, I'm willing to do this. And I talk with my higher self. I will be in this. I will be present. I will spend this day, this 2 days, these 3 days, this week, because I know you're going to give me so many more days, weeks, or months of that happiness and joy once I work through it. Yeah. So step 10, I continue regular shadow work by exploring what troubles me and focus on my healing in order to be of service of this world. That's our step 10, my dear friends. That being said, until next time, much love from me to all of you.